Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our latest webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by Harry Hastings, who is the co-CEO of Ocean Holidays, the fastest growing travel company in the UK, no less. We'll give you that plug, Harry. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Good day today. Had a good time at WTM last week, and back to doing lots of work this week.
Yeah, well, it was great to see you there. We had a good chat, and you told me about a new initiative, which actually you've launched officially today. And so I asked you to come on to talk about it because I think it's very important. But obviously, we want to hear from you about what you've done. But it's a new program all around servicing people with special needs, with disabilities. Some of them that we can see, but some of them hidden. And perhaps you can talk to us, Harry, about what you have done.
Yeah, of course. So just over a year ago, we embarked on building our accessibility program. And it was a couple of years ago when we realized, as a Florida specialist and the types of holidays that we're selling, bigger groups, multi-generational, it was plainly obvious that we weren't servicing, and indeed perhaps many of the industry wasn't servicing parties with disabilities as well as perhaps we should be. And when you do a bit of research, you realize 1 in 5 people that go on holiday and 1 in 5 people in the UK are disabled. So not only is it the right thing to have inclusive holidays, but it's actually in your commercial interest as well. And it was at that point, just over a year ago, we sort of stamped it and said, right, let's do this. We've invested more than £100,000 over the course of the last year in training. So we've got accessibility champions across the business. And at the moment, we're focusing only through Ocean Florida, both to the consumer and through the trade. But we've got champions across the business. Dozens of people have come forward, many of which with personal disabilities themselves. And we've built a really comprehensive accessibility hub. We've reached out to many of our suppliers and curated lots of programs and products. So you may have seen this year, for example, Universal launched a quiet room at Universal Orlando. We've got an inventory of accessible villas that we've pulled together. We've partnered with the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Trust. So it goes on and on and on. And we've been working on this for about a year.
So before we go on to talk about what you've done and what you can now offer, Harry, let's just talk to us about hidden disabilities. You mentioned there that the Sunflower Organization, which represents hidden disabilities. So what are we talking about here? Give us the sort of range of kind of disabilities, because when you say 1 in 5, that's staggering, but we might not have realized that.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at when we come out accessible holidays, we're trying to have a holistic approach. So you break it down to 4 areas. So whether it's visual impairment, hearing impairment, mobility, or if you're neurodivergent. And Lucy, you were I was very fortunate that you interviewed me recently about my son Rudy and about his condition, and which was in the Travel Weekly recently. And if you look at somebody like Rudy and our experiences, when we travel through airports, especially when he's younger, he's got more special seating and stuff now. But when he was younger and he was in a typical buggy, people wouldn't realize that he was disabled. So by having the sunflower lanyard, and having a sunflower badge, we could confidently go through airports. I travel to Mallorca quite a lot. So whether you're in the UK, and when we got to Palma as well, the staff at Palma were fantastic getting onto the plane. So that's a good example of where the Sunflower Partnership can highlight hidden disabilities. It's a bit different for us now. You can see, because of his bigger buggy, it's more like a wheelchair. You can see that he's disabled. But that's an example of how the Sunflower Partnership can work. But not only that, how using again my personal example, Rudy has, I mentioned those four areas: so neurodivergent, hearing, visual, and mobility. So 3 out of those 4 are Rudy. And then you've got some people that are 1 out of those 4, and you've got some people that are 4 out of those 4. But when you add it all up across the UK, it's 1 in 5.
Yeah, and you did some fascinating research as well to support this, which found that what's currently in the market isn't really servicing people's needs, whether they're 1 in 4 or 4 or 4. And actually it's putting them off traveling. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we've surveyed just over 1,000 people with third-party research company. So more than half of people that we surveyed that were disabled associated going on holiday as being stressful. Now, come on, we all know we love holidays. This is the travel
Yeah.
industry, right?
Yeah.
And we want people to go on a holiday because we want them to have a relaxing time, or maybe not relaxing, maybe they're going for adventure or otherwise. But um, more than half of people that are disabled find holidays stressful. 2/3 have had negative experience.
Yeah.
Just under half have made complaints, and of those complaints, less than half of those are responded to. And the one statistic that worries me the most actually is the smallest number. 1 in 10 just don't bother go on holiday because it's too stressful.
Yeah.
And you just think, you know, I know from having a disability in family how stressful it can be on family, friends, people that help, carers. And people need a holiday, and disabled people need a holiday. And the thought that they don't want to go on holiday because it's too stressful
Yeah.
is very sad. And I think the travel industry, we have an enormous opportunity because what do we do best at? We do best at relationships. We do best at people. We do best at delivering experiences and memories. Whether it's travel agents talking to customers or tour operators with suppliers or airlines and airports, we do people. So we have this amazing opportunity as an industry to provide a service, a very human service to 1 in 5 people who need it. And I think collectively there's a big opportunity in front of us.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure, I mean, you mentioned at the outset there, Harry, that this is obviously something that the trade can get behind, because agents watching this must have had people coming in asking with particular special needs or things they needed and perhaps couldn't find a way to service it, maybe lost that customer. So tell us how agents can use this new service and all the work that you've put into it, so that they can hopefully not turn people away and can actually get some more customers perhaps.
Yeah, so I think well, first and foremost, for all of your viewers at Travel Weekly, Ocean Holidays as a business only started selling to the trade in 2020. So if you haven't signed up to Ocean Florida Trade yet, and you want to be able to provide accessible and specialist holidays, certainly to Florida and beyond, you need to be signed up to Ocean Florida Trade. And then within the Ocean Florida Trade team, we're up to a team of around 12 reservations and operations there, who answer the phone immediately and get back to you quickly. They are specially trained. We've got a number of champions within that team who can deal with those inquiries and treat them on a case-by-case basis in a bespoke way. So we've already rolled that out across our trade team and arm. As well as that, the accessibility hub on the Ocean Florida website, which went live today. So if you go to the Ocean Florida website, so it's ocean-florida then /accessible-holidays, it's got a fully comprehensive hub with everything that you need. And I find the frequently asked questions quite useful because I'm learning all the time. So now and again, I just go on the frequently asked questions and read about stuff that I just didn't know myself. So I think they're the two main things. You speak to the trade reservations team, and then and the hub and the information that we've got, and combined, we're able to provide that service.
Yeah. And you mentioned at the outset, Harry, about the partners that you're working with. So what's been the response from your Florida partners, whether it's accommodation or theme parks or ground handling, whatever it is? I know you've got your own team out there. So what have they thought about this? And have they been able to provide you with the product that you need to be able to provide this service?
It's been a mixed response, I think is the first thing to say. When we quote the 1 in 5 number, people are often shocked. I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, and a colleague actually, and they said, "I cannot believe it's 1 in 5." Oh yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And so I think first and foremost, particularly for Florida, a big sort of shout out really to the CVBs, tourism boards. Visit Florida in particular have been champion accessibility for the last couple of years. when borders to the US first opened and we all Visit Florida came and saw us all when when they could travel again, they rolled out their 4 pillars for the year, and funnily enough, one of them was the same as ours, which was accessibility.
Yeah.
And so I think from a CVB perspective, we've had enormous support. I think it's really fair to say the theme parks have always done a good job. Whichever theme park you look of the main theme parks in Central Florida, whether it's SeaWorld, Universal, or Disney, I think they've always done a good job with disabilities. And going into this, we knew we would have their support no matter what, and we knew they were market leaders really, and
Yeah.
you see it all the time. Everyone raves about them. There are autism certified hotels in Orlando that we've managed to find out about and get our hands on, and villa management companies have been mixed, trying to reach out to villa management companies and making sure that they can provide us with the right inventory. It won't be a surprise to your listeners that has been a challenge, but we've got a small inventory now that we're working with, and the small amount of suppliers that are willing to work with us, I think they're willing to work with us in a meaningful way. So yeah, it's been good. I think it helps, Lucy, that um, people like the Travel Weekly, it's becoming more and more popular to talk about accessibility, and it's becoming more, it's coming to the surface more. So suppliers are coming forward. So I think we're talking to a partner called Travelability in the US as well, who do a lot with disability. So
Yeah.
yeah, overwhelmingly it's been good, but in some areas it's been a mixed bag, I would say.
Yeah, and hopefully that will only improve, though. That's what we've got to hope as we talk more about it, and perhaps
Exactly.
if they see some of your other partners getting on board. And let's go back to what you said, because obviously there's that moral and human reason for doing it, and that's absolutely the driver. And I know that, Harry. But you did say it's commercially a no-brainer, isn't it? If we're currently missing such a huge chunk of the market.
Yeah, and look, I can only speak for Ocean Holidays, right? But we really believe in doing the right thing. It's one of the values that we talk about a lot, and we really try to do the right thing by our people that work at Ocean Holidays, in turn the people that buy from Ocean Holidays, and our suppliers. But everything that we do needs to make commercial sense. And when you look at the size of the market, and then you look at the offering out there beyond niche tour operators, we've got to be honest with ourselves and say, you have on the one hand airlines that operate tour operators that are providing a service in part because they have to provide that service as part of flying, and then at the other end you have niche tour operators that specialize in disability holidays. But there's this huge gap in the middle where tour operators such as ourselves are not providing a service, let alone a good enough service. And I think that's where there is enormous commercial opportunity. So 20% of that middle market is wide open,
Yeah.
and that's essentially, from a commercial perspective, A, we're doing the right thing, but B, it's a big opportunity for us.
And what you're saying is, because I think if you're a travel agent, perhaps presented with a more specialist inquiry, it might be quite nerve-wracking to try and deal with it. So I guess there's a big education piece involved. But you're saying at the moment they can contact your guys because you've done this huge amount of training, so that they can perhaps take that sort of anxiety they might have around selling a holiday like this away
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah, I think what I would say to travel agents is, first and foremost, people don't necessarily, it's about coming forward with the information and making sure that travel agents' clients are aware that you're able to offer this service, certainly for
Yeah.
Florida and the rest of the USA. And I think we would all be surprised. I have been really surprised by the amount of people that have said, oh, I'm actually traveling with somebody that's autistic. I'm actually traveling with somebody who's in a wheelchair. Often people do not come forward with that information because they just go off and do it themselves in some way, shape or form, because we're not saying as a travel agent or tour operator, by the way, we can help you with that. So firstly, it's making sure that people are aware that service is essentially on offer. And then in terms of having your hand held, whether that's the travel agent or the customer, that's where we're there to support. The biggest tip I would give to all travel agents that work with people with disabilities is we mustn't pretend or overpromise and say we're a one-stop shop, we'll take care of everything for you, don't worry about it. You take the lead of the person with the disability and the party with disability, and you work in partnership with them. So within our CRM, we've got a form which we can fill in on your behalf, or the customer can fill in. And it's pretty comprehensive. And then once you've got all that information, then you work together in partnership. And, you know, take my case with Rudy. I went to Dubai in February, and one of his medications is a banned substance. I'm not going to trust anyone else to register that with Dubai, because I don't
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble at the other end. But I might but I might trust a travel agent to tell the airline that I've got a special type of seat. So
Yeah.
you work in partnership, which is
Yeah.
thing, and we mustn't be scared of or have fear of the requests and of the needs of these people, because
Yeah.
all the information's there, and you do it and you go into it as a partnership.
So listening, gathering all the information, and then I guess every case is different, but that's what you can service. And what about, I mean, I'm being devil's advocate here, but there might be agents who think, God, that's a bit of a hassle. We've got this long form to fill in. I've got to find all this stuff. You know, they might think it's just easier to sell something that's quicker, but is the ultimate reward worth it? Because I guess if they do get that sale, they perhaps have special requests, and it might be lucrative.
So we've piloted the accessibility program in the background for the last 6 or 7 weeks, and what you'll find is that, and it is often the case when we're selling holidays, is the upfront effort will have the reward at the end. And what I mean by that is we have seen conversion rates significantly increase with the more information gathering you do together with the customer up front. We have seen conversion rates increase to the consumer, indeed, at the front end, of up to 4 times. So
wow,
it's about that investment at the front end to make sure that, you know, you are going to be doing that work in partnership with your customer, with your client, but ultimately that in exchange you will get that appreciation. So it's not
probably a customer for life as well. Probably
and a
if
customer
you
for
do it
life.
right, you're going to get
Exactly,
loyalty, aren't you?
exactly right. And it's very, very important as well that we talk about value, because, you know, we have to at the same time make sure that we're offering good value, and we have to make sure that you know, no matter what sort of budget that a disabled person is looking for, you know, the actual value is good, and is equal to that of somebody that isn't disabled.
Yeah, and is that the case, Harry? Are you able to do that? Because again, a misperception might be that, well, it's going to be so expensive, and that might put people off, I guess.
It depends. I think, and I can. This is more from a personal perspective than as a travel business. Unfortunately, it's inevitable that to some extent things cost more money.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a quick example of that. I flew to Mallorca earlier in the year. We have, as a family, 2 special chairs for Rudy because he's got mobility issues, and those 2 chairs weren't approved on the airline that I was flying on earlier in the year. So I had to find out which seat was approved, and it just happened it was a scheduled airline, and they approved only the best of the best of the best. Now that chair is £3,000 to buy. It's not available because they don't make them very much anymore, so you have to rent it for roughly the same price of car hire, more than £100 a week. So no matter how good the travel agent or tour operator or other is, could I have avoided that situation? Well, no, I needed to go to that destination on that particular airline. What was the trade-off? I was going to Mallorca. Mallorca's a fantastic destination for accessibility. They've recently launched the tourism board have recently launched an accessibility program. So at the same time, I get to Mallorca, and it's a fantastic destination to be there. Where I was staying, there's a a section of the beach which is dedicated to people that are disabled. There's ramps every 50 meters. So, you know,
Yeah, you wear it up.
there's
Yeah, but
trade-offs.
again,
But unfortunately, it does cost more. It's inevitable that it costs more money, I'm afraid.
yeah, and I think that's the reality, isn't it? But hopefully, with us talking about it and bringing it to the fore and doing what you do, it will become, more even. Perhaps it will balance out, and hopefully, we can get some of those prices down as more people cotton on. All right. So you said the conversion rates are great. So there's a real, I mean, that's fantastic that your pilots work so well. And you said it's gone live today. So just as a final reminder, if agents are inspired by this and they've either got clients or they think they could have clients, they just need to log on to Ocean Florida Trade to make sure they're working with you. And then have you got people that can sort of help them through how they use the website, or just people they can call?
Well, first and foremost, you need to make sure that your consortia is signed up to us. So, or if you're an independent, make sure you're signed up to us.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. If you are signed up to us, you'll have a dedicated business development manager that you're working with. The lovely Zoe Place or Claire Harvey, most likely, are the two, one of the two, and then Zoe or Claire will ensure that you get introduced to our reservations team, where we've got Alison Mason heading that up, who do a fantastic job of making sure you're well looked after. And then it's that reservations team that will work with you on a one-to-one basis. One of the things we've done as Ocean Florida Trade, and what's been really important to us, and the feedback that we've been getting from the trade, is that it sounds really simple, really, but you ring us and we answer the phone really quickly, and when you send an inquiry, we respond really quickly, and it's something that we take really seriously, and that's something that we will be providing when people have got special needs and accessible needs. So that's the process. If you're not signed up, or if your consortium is not signed up, please do encourage them to do that.
Yeah, have a word.
Well, look, we're relative. It's our 20th anniversary next year, but we've only been distributing packages to the trade for a couple of years, so it's understandable.
And Harry, while we're on that, I mean, I know this was predominantly to talk about the accessibility program, but actually selling through the trade has been a good move for you, hasn't it? I mean, you probably think, why didn't I do this sooner? Because they've really responded, haven't they, agents?
I'm just so grateful, and it was so and it's been, the feedback that we've had has just been brilliant, and for all of the travel agents and consortia that have supported us during this, since spring 2020, it's just been the most amazing experience for us as a business to work with the travel trade in this way. Our DNA has been in consumer direct. We're very much a digital and technology meets human connection business, and rolling out to the trade in the last couple of years, it's just been brilliant. We're really enjoying it. So many of our resources are now working towards doing more for the trade. So we want to do more, not just Florida, but beyond into the rest of the USA. And we want to support agents and home workers and alike to grow their businesses. And I think what we didn't realize with selling to the trade previously, which we now do realize, is that we've built up Ocean Florida, so we're the largest Florida specialist in Europe, and a lot of customers were wanting to book our holidays but couldn't. And by providing our product available through the trade, many people have said, we're really pleased that you're doing this now, because instead of turning customers away or diverting them to another tour operator, we can now service those customers. And I think that's what was short-sighted of us pre-pandemic. So we've done it now, and we're really pleased we've done it, and we're here to stay, that's for sure.
Brilliant. All right, well, I think that's as good a place to end it. Delighted that you're with us with the trade. We love that for starters, but I am so impressed with what you've done around accessibility. I was really moved when we spoke about it last week, and I'm so pleased you came on to talk about it today. We wish you all the best. Hope agents get behind it, and you'll have to come on again and tell us how it goes, because I think it's a good story, and we need to keep talking about it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time today. Thanks for highlighting it. Really appreciate it.
All right. Best of luck, Harry. See you soon.
All right. All the best. Take care.